Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Hola, gracias por ver the bookshelf, the Western Spring Television. Mi nombre es Damilola Raphael. Hello, thank you for watching the bookshelf on Western Spring Television. My name is Damilola Raphael. I'm getting better. Yippee! Remember, the watchword, the mandate, the goal, the task, the assignment for this year we are in on the bookshelf is for us to learn a new language. So, how did I fare? I did well, right? I'm sure that you are working on your side as well to develop yourself, to flex the muscles in your brain and allow yourself get exposed and explore the world that we have there in terms of its beauty in language. The bookshelf is the platform where we get to delve into the myriad of all the colors and beauty in the world of books, knowledge, and information. I learned something new recently, and I think I want to share with us right here. Info, laugh info. Woo! I'm going to come back next time and I'll be saying it in Spanish. But for today, it is info, laugh info. All right. So that's all about it on the bookshelf. We get to have our relationship and of course express ourselves and explore the world of different persons and different things. As long as it has a relationship with books, it is covered right here on the bookshelf. And it's such a delight to be making a return on the broadcast today, as always, as we do every other week. We trust that you've been following up on the different episodes that we have uploaded on our different social media platforms. Oh, no, please. You know, it's like that's a book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And it said, if you haven't read the previous edition, you have missed a lot. And right now, if you are not reading the current edition, in fact, so if you haven't watched, you have missed a lot. Anybody that is not watching right now, hey, please don't be lost to catch up on all our previous episodes and do well to share as well. Very important. Interact with us, follow us, like, comment, share. We need this for us to be able to know that, okay, we're actually reaching out to real people. It is, somebody said organic, so it is organic, right? It is real time, not something that is forced. All right, my name is Damilola Raphael. I am your teaching and learning advocate. So together we are teaching ourselves and of course we are learning together. We are making progress. We are getting better. Okay. Today on the broadcast of the bookshelf, we are going to be doing something quite interesting and I will be visiting one of my biggest picks, like my best picks. I've talked about this at different points with regards my favorite pick with regards to books. Of course, I get to read different other books, but you know how it is now. It is as long as it's a biography, it is covered right here. I'm going to be doing a review of a book. And it's a biography. Okay, we're going to be having a book review, and it is on biography. Somebody says say it, somebody says whisper it, somebody says shout it, whatever it is. Communicate it is what is important. Communicate it. And this is a story to tell. We've brought him on the show before, right? Yes, he's come on the bookshelf before. A story to tell, and it's written by the veteran himself, Smollett Adetoyese Alamu. It's an autobiography of the Alamu man. Now, I will just go into the details of the books. Of course, it was dedicated to God, dedicated to his parents, and of course, dedicated to all of us because we are human beings, right? He said, it is also a work dedicated to every human being who has helped to give value to my life. So please get a copy of the book. You're adding value to the veteran Alamu man. So the book is dedicated to you. You imagine that you're getting something that is dedicated to you and you have it in your house, specially amazing. So we'll move on and look into the different parts. We have, of course, acknowledgements. There is the foreword written by the former state governor. There is the writer's views as well, different persons, notable persons. Right there, I don't want to tell you the names there, but there are names that, Okay, so let's go into the content. There's the writer's view, there's the dedication, there's a foreword, there's a preface, there's the acknowledgements, and then we have from chapters 1 to 15. Okay, and moving on from chapters 1 to 15, there's the afterword, and then there is the bibliography. To break this down, I'll be looking into 4 different parts of this particular material: a story to tell, an autobiography of the Alamu man. But let me just give us the different chapters 1 to 15 that we have right here. We have chapter 1, meeting of a duo. Chapter 2, birth at dawn. Chapter 3, childhood reminiscences. Chapter 4 is the years of my second decade. Chapter 5, so that means from chapter 1 to 4 covers the first 20 years of his life. So let's move on. Chapter 5, secondary school days. Chapter 6, the early broadcast years. Chapter 7, university at last. Chapter 8, work, NYC, marriage and fatherhood. Chapter 9, a vertical encounter. Chapter 10, fishing in other poles. Chapter 11, matured broadcast years. Okay. And chapter 12, who I am, what I wanted to give. That's talking about what I will call the definition. Okay. Chapter 13, preparing to leave. So that's winding down now towards retirement. Chapter 14, those I met. Chapter 15, thoughts of a septuagenarian. Now, looking through this, all of these chapters, I decided to break it into 4 parts. So we'll be looking at some part of his early years. We'll be looking at some part of after retirement, post-retirement years. We'll be looking at some of the detours he had in life as well. All of this guiding us, directing us towards a particular goal. Let's start out with the first one right here, and we'll be looking at childhood reminiscences, and that's from chapter 3. Now, if you look through chapter 1, meeting of a duo, that's talking about how his parents met. Chapter 2, birth at dawn. Do you want to miss any part of it? Like, okay, so people have children at dawn, but how? There are different stories, different angles, different scripts, really, to everybody's portrayal of the script. I'm living a script right now. I wouldn't say I'm acting a script, because see, bookshelf is real, it's not fiction. So I'm living a script now. This is part of my life at this point, okay? So, and when I say at this point, I'm not just talking about being on your screen, being in front of the camera. I'm talking about this stage, real life. As I said earlier, the bookshelf is not fiction. It is real life. So I'm not acting a script. We are all living scripts, wherever it is we are. So you don't want to miss that part of his script. And I recall asking him while he was with us on set that, was he there? I get to ask this question a lot of times. Were you there when you were born? You were not there. How did you know? That's somebody told me. And maybe that's part of why he dedicated the book to his parents. So childhood reminiscences, I'll just be taking some short parts of it. Whet your appetite. Make you just go back and read if you have done that before, or go back and read if you have not done that before, and you just have the book lying somewhere around. And if you don't even have it at all, hey, don't let us drag you to court. Chapter 3, childhood reminiscences, starts from page 97. Read and I quote. There are so many things I still remember from my early childhood. The earliest memory I have about that period is that of an Asho Alaro wearing young boy of about 3 years old. My stepmother, a senior wife in the Shitu Eyi harem, Mama Seliat Adejoke, was a specialist in Adire dye clothes. This must have been responsible for the many shades of Adire clothes I had, many of which were sewn in the Danshiki style. No wonder I tended to love sewing my native wares in the style in the early days of my adult life. If you go back to that interview with the veteran, you should see something like that. Let's move on. Having been born in Efidwase, a town some 2 or 3 kilometers from Koforidua, the eastern regional capital of the old Gold Coast, now Ghana, Papa must have moved out of Koforidua into the hinterland of Ghana and settled in Tekimantia, a large but rural town in those days in the Brong Ahafo region, when I was about 3 years old. Tekimantia was about 70 kilometers from Kumasi, Ghana's hinterland second city after Accra, the capital. I'm on page, did I say page 97 earlier? I beg your pardon, page 30. Page 30. So let's move to page 31 now. Students of history may have learned about the great Asante Empire of the 18th and 19th century years, but had kings such as Osei Tutu, Opokuwari, and the great Ya Asantewa, the warrior king, who led the war of her time at the tail end of the 18th century. The headquarters of the old Asante Empire was Kumasi, which is today the capital of Asante region of the country. The Akan language is largely spoken in Ghana. One of its variants is Twi or Asante. It is almost a lingua franca in the entire southern part of that country, except in Accra and other areas surrounding the city where the Ga Adangbe language is spoken. So he's giving us, just an opener into the details of his early childhood. So let us move now to page 33. All right, I'll take the first paragraph there. If you're starting on page 33, the first line is actually, the paragraph of it is on page 32, and then it's continuing. So let's take the first official paragraph, if I can use that term, on page 33. Every morning, I would walk from the family house, cross the untarred road onto the school field. I was always attracted by the school band that always led in the routine march past before class or lessons began. Ever dressed up in my Danshiki Adire clothes, remember that? I would move into the midst of the school band boys on duty. When the last class marched out of the parade ground, I used to follow the band to where they ended the beating of their drums before returning home. I think I should stop right there with regards to the early childhood reminiscences in chapter 3. And let's move to another part. Remember, we're taking 4 parts. We are taking just 4 parts out of the entire 15 chapters right here. And the next one is going to be chapter 6. Early broadcast years. So childhood reminiscences, early broadcast years. To the extent he's an adult, he should have passed the age 20 at this time. Remember, we said chapter 1 to 4 covered his first 20 years. So he's already an adult and he's starting life. Let's just go through early broadcast years, chapter 6, page 97. So this is now page 97. The values we have as individuals or even as a people must always inspire us to pride, to duty, to responsibility, and to sacrifice in our march to progress. Yorubas are the people of southwest Nigeria. One of their common proverbs is "Kí àgbàdo tó dáyé, nǹkan kan ni adìyẹ ń jẹ." It means before the discovery of maize, the fowl had something to eat or to feed on. This proverb becomes opposite in my life situation and circumstance. This is because, as I love to tell, I did not choose broadcasting as a profession. And that's what I'm doing now. Can you imagine? It was the broadcast profession that chose me. It will therefore not be right to go straight into discussing my sojourn in the field without first telling the frustrations I faced in the effort to pursue higher studies and how that led me off tangent and target to become an auxiliary teacher for 2 years. So let's see some other parts of this particular one. And of course, he broke it into 3 different parts. We are breaking the book into 4 parts, right? The author here is breaking into 3 different parts. The second part that we are taking, I'll let you in on the 3 different parts after this breather. The bookshelf continues on the other side of it.
James Ajibolaige was a lawyer who obtained his first degree in classics from Nigeria's premier University of Ibadan. Born September 13, 1930, the orator and the polyglot spoke impeccable English, French, Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba languages. His fine diction placed him among classical orators and public speakers like Cicero, the Roman orator. This attribute earned him the prefix Cicero of Esauke. He authored Kaduna Boy, an autobiography, Detainee's Diary, Constitution, and the People, among 6 other books. Bolaige was a colorful politician, elected governor of Oyo State in 1979 and appointed a federal minister in 1999. He was a pioneer founder of Afenifere, the Yoruba social, cultural, and political group. He invested his political sagacity to propel the group to the height of political leadership and decision-making in the southwest of Nigeria. Bolaige was assassinated on the 23rd December 2001. His murderers are yet to be apprehended till today. Western Spring Television identifies Bolaige as a watershed character in history.
You're welcome back. Thank you indeed for keeping faith with us right here on the bookshelf, Western Spring Television. So where did we stop? Before the break, we said we'll be continuing with the 3 parts. He broke our second part, which is chapter 6 of the book on the review for today, a story to tell, an autobiography on the life of the Alamu man, written by himself. Of course, since it's an autobiography, he wrote it himself, Smollett. Adetoyese Alamu. We're in chapter 6, and we said we're taking on the early broadcast years, and I give my word. So let's just look at one part of it, because I'm just looking at that rhyme. 6 days the clock, right? So let's do it quick before the broadcast years, and then of course going through the entire book. I want to go to my own third part at this time, and that's chapter 10. So from 3 to 6, now we are on 10, chapter 10. That's on page 209. Fishing in other pools. Over the years, I'm quoting, I have come to know that truth is one voice that reminds all of us of our deepest commitments. It has not been broadcasting and journalism for me all through my adult life. There are other related or totally unrelated fields that I ventured into in the course of my gradual march to 70. I have mentioned earlier that teaching first took me to Asesewa in the eastern region of Ghana. Teaching later took me to Yemekun Grammar School, Akure, Community High School, Iwoyede, and Oba Akinbiyi High School, 1 in Ibadan. The experiences were great. Working with Mr. Adeniran, the principal at Community High School Iwoye, was a tug of war. I was a man in my mid-30s then who detested his very poor leadership style. No teacher on the staff quarreled with him, as I did, purely on principles. No matter how hot the exchanges were, I was always the first to go to his office to greet him the very next day. Isn't that amazing? The very next day, going in to greet. He said, I never ever used any inappropriate language on him, not even when he did the worst by taking some teachers to their police station and leaving them there because his office had been burgled. My goodness. So catch up on that, chapter 10, Fishing in Other Pools, page 209 right there. And we get to the final part. And what chapter is that? 15. We're going to chapter 15. That's on page 349. Thoughts of a Septuagenarian. As the title of this last chapter of this autobiography suggests, I'm devoting the issues or discourse here to the challenges facing Nigeria, my dear country. I have attempted to discuss this in this chapter, an aspect of the being of our country, namely leadership. And remember, that's what we just talked about in the last chapter that we reviewed right here, and that's on chapter 10. He talked about the issues he had while he was fishing in other pools, and of course, teaching, and it touched on leadership. I think I should just take one or two lines. In the last 50 to 55 years of Nigeria's existence as an independent nation state, I'm very much aware of the citizens have suffered a series of extremely poor leadership. You know, sometimes I just want to be Nigerian. You safe. You want me to read the whole thing? Go and catch up on this. A story to tell right here, and you will be edified. And maybe that will help you go back to some of the previous years, the mandates that we've had with regards writing, keeping a journal. I know we've had a mandate where we talked about keeping a journal and focusing this year on learning a new language. All of this put together is what is going to make up your own story one day. You will be amazed. You may not be the one to write it. I brought in an author who wrote about his mom. So you'll be amazed that you may not be the one who will write it. It could be your child. It could be your grandchild that will write about your life. Start living that life right now. And you'll be amazed at how beautiful it will be when you are reading about yourself, whether written by yourself or written by somebody else who had gone to make consultations all around you. Just live life well, live it to the full, and remember you do that through learning. Get all the information that you can get. This is like one book that you just don't want to drop, you know, at any other time. And as we begin to post home today on the bookshelf, I'm looking forward to coming back on another rewarding episode of the broadcast. I'm wishing you the very best that life has to offer. And this is Damilola Raphael, your teaching and learning advocate. Wishing you adios, Dios nos bendiga.